underdog money lines of the weekend. You can go Saturday or Sunday. Mike, you alluded to where you were going earlier. You're going back to the Gonzaga Houston game.
Yeah, I'm going to go GU here at plus 185. As soon as the bracket came out, everyone pointed to this being a potential stumbling block for Houston. And a big part of it is the emergence of Khalif Battle. We saw it earlier in the season. You figured he would be a big shot in the arm, either coming off the bench or grabbing starts in certain situations. And he has been that in the past 6 weeks. He's had 21 or more 4 times in that stretch. And with him burying threes, all of the spacing, all of the danger for, an opposing defense, it gets ratcheted up because not only is he making shots, but then Nolan Hickman has open looks. They're able to go into the post without people doubling quite as easily. And really, we were just kind of waiting because all the statistical analysis, the major Ken Palms, Torviks, Mias of the world were saying, this is an elite team. This is an elite team. Well, we needed to see it against teams outside of the WCC, or at the very least, the very top. You look at their last 2 games. St. Mary's, they're able to dominate that game. Then against Georgia, they win going away as well. So I think everything is, peaking at the right time for the Zags. And then when I look over at this Houston team, I understand that Kelvin Sampson is an elite coach, but I don't necessarily view him as someone I'm absolutely terrified, a stay away, never fade in the NCAA tournament. Because he's been an elite regular season coach, they've had so many opportunities to be a top seed, yet he's advanced past the Sweet 16 twice in 11 years in H-Town. So I think this is an opportunity to grab the Zags team that is living up fully to its potential. And offensively, I'm still wondering if anything like the bottom's going to fall out in tournament time as it has in years past for the Cougars. Keep in mind, a Baylor team that at least offensively profiles a little bit closer to the Zags, nearly beat Houston in a recent game. So I think at plus 185, anything north of plus 170, there's the value there. I wouldn't be shocked to see them advance and make, I believe, Mark Few's 10th straight Sweet 16. So I have an elite coach of my own.
Yeah, they're gonna have to make outside shots, and they couldn't for about a month leading up to the tournament. Maybe that has turned. They went 12 of 20 from three against Georgia. Now, obviously, seeing the Nets well here in a tournament where no one can make a three. Some rumblings out there about the balls. I think scoring is down like two to 3 points compared to expectation. So Gonzaga, one of the teams that obviously is seeing it well. They're going to have to make some perimeter shots in this one, and if they do, they'll definitely have a shot. Greg, what are you saying?
I'm going to stay in the West Coast Conference here and take St. Mary's to beat Alabama, plus 190 here. This is a Sunday game, so apologies that I'm giving out one couple days in advance, but I think it's my favorite play on the card for the round of 32. You mentioned the shooting across the board has been strange this tournament. It has been a theme in recent years where the balls are just overinflated. That impacts teams that do what Alabama does, and I thought they looked very frustrated in round one. This was not a game against Robert Morris where give Robert Morris credit for just showing up and being up for the challenge, but that was not a case of Robert Morris like shooting the lights out and having a chance to steal that game. Robert Morris shot 26% from three in that game and looked up and was tied with Alabama with 7 minutes to play. I don't think this Crimson Tide team looks right. Obviously, Grant Nelson's injury is hanging over this group. They end up bringing him in with 7 minutes left to try to save the game. And look, he contributed. Give him credit. Maybe he starts. My expectation is he will. But the fact that he didn't start in game one of this tournament tells me that he's not 100%. I was really unimpressed with the Alabama role players. LeBaron Philon was pretty messy as far as his own offense. He did have 8 assists, but they need some scoring punch from other guys that are not Mark Sears. And St. Mary's stylistically is going to frustrate Alabama. We know this. They're going to slow this down, control the entire rhythm of this game, similar to what they did to Gonzaga in multiple wins this year. And they're a great 3-point defense. Like if you're looking for a team that profiles as a team that can just give Alabama fits, it's the team that limits attempts. They're 11th in the country in preventing 3-point attempts. And then teams don't make their threes either against St. Mary's. So it's worth the shot, nearly 2-1. I think St. Mary's is going to really frustrate Nate Oates' team here.
Yeah, St. Mary's can do some of the things just better that Robert Morris did. Like Robert Morris good on the offensive glass. Robert Morris good at limiting 3-point attempts because they have good rim protection. And St. Mary's is just gonna just grind this game down to a halt and make Alabama uncomfortable. Fascinating pace clash in this one. One of the fastest teams in the country versus one of the slowest. A pretty funny matchup, but yeah, taking the points I think is the way to go. I'm going to go with the first game coming up here in about hour and a half. I'm going to go with McNeese State against Purdue. I think that Purdue is going to need its role players to show up here. This is the complete polar opposite matchup compared to High Point, where, against High Point, Braden Smith, TKR, they could do their thing. Not going to be able to do that here against McNeese State. They're going to need their role players to hit threes. They're going to get a ton of looks from the outside. Do you trust the Purdue role players to do so? I, I don't know. They've been very hit or miss. And also, this is a team that does not shoot anywhere close to what they do at home. I think they're 6% lower away from home from three. So if those shots aren't falling and you can take away the strength of that Purdue team, I think this game's going to go down to the wire. McNeese State wants to relentlessly attack the rim. I think they're top 5 near proximity attempt rate. Well, that Purdue definitely has issues there. I think McNeese State can do some work on the offensive glass. So unless, you need like a big lawyer game here, you need some of their role players to hit some threes. I don't fully trust them. Curious to also see what kind of tricks Will Wade has up his sleeve after that first game. I think that this game will be close. Greg, I know you're in tune with the Big Ten. Do you have any thoughts here?
No, I completely agree. It's going to come down to the Purdue role players. And if Fletcher Lawyer is one of the guys you're depending on too, he looks banged up to me. He had the elbow injury in the Big Ten tournament and just was a shell of himself against High Point. So I think your angle is correct here. The one concern I have with just outright backing McNeese today is I almost wonder if Will Wade seriously wants to coach another week here. And I know that sounds crazy. I liked it motivationally from McNeese in the first game because a lot of these guys are either going to go with him and or are ending their college careers. Of course, the players want to win. But I don't know. Like, my read on Wade here is like he got the one he wanted. He took his little victory lap at the podium, and now you might be ready to go start your career at NC
What do you think he's
State.
going to do? Not the coach? This start is not
No,
starter?
it's one of those things that hangs over. I know it sounds stupid, but the vibes I got from Will Wade and everyone involved was like our job is done after
I'm
the
glad
first
that
game.
you said vibes because we're talking about Amir or a Khan. He's not going to look him in the eye and be like, it's time to mail it in, right? He's going to blast that Buffalo Wild Wings boombox and they're going to come out with their hair on fire and at least give it their best shot in the first half.
They're also playing. They're playing with house money here, so they can play a lot looser. It could work into their advantage, but it's definitely worth mentioning. And by the way, back to the inflated balls, Texas A&M, Michigan today. If there's one team that benefits from inflated balls more than any other team in the country, it's Texas A&M, a team that can't shoot and encourages you to shoot threes and just wants to get rebounds. So I say inflate those balls a bit more.